Hi, welcome to Orchids with Barney. Today I want to feature this beautiful Cymbidium. It's quite an unusual species. It's Cymbidium wadae or wadae, W-A-D-A-E. I'm not sure how it's really meant to be pronounced. And you can see it's got these beautiful sort of lilac and white flowers with yellow on the lip, really beautiful yellow markings on the lip. When the flowers opened, and they've been open a few weeks now, they were much lighter pink and they've darkened over time, which I actually prefer the slightly darker colour. Now I didn't make the video straight away because, as usual, orchid flowers take a few days at least to develop their fragrance, sometimes up to a week to develop a full fragrance. So I wanted to see what the fragrance is like, because this plant is very similar to Cymbidium eburnum, and eburnum has got a really beautiful fragrance. So this is part of the reason I wanted to buy it and grow it and flower it. And I have to say I've been very pleased. The fragrance reminds me of walking into a florist, and when you get a kind of mixture of floral fragrances, but the two that really come to mind are like very lightly smelling of lilies, and then a classic yellow daffodil, narcissus, that classic daffodil smell you get from the bunches of daffodils you can buy in the shops in spring. Those two mixed together, so lily and daffodil, is what this reminds me of, but really just walking into a florist is the smell that it's so reminiscent to me of. And it's quite strong when you put your nose in. It wafts a little bit, more stronger in the morning to kind of lunchtime, and it sort of fades during the rest of the day. But very, very nice. And you can see it's got these lovely 2 inflorescences, 1 flower on each, but it can apparently have up to 2 flowers per inflorescence when the plant is more mature, I hope. Now, like Cymbidium eburnum and Cymbidium mastersii, and unlike nearly all the other Cymbidiums, this has got a very unusual growth habit. I'm just going to spin it around and you'll see a bit more clearly. Now, this plant grows a continuous upright stem, a bit like a monopodial. So you've got a fan of leaves kind of growing left, right, new leaves emerging from the center there, and it just continues to grow taller. So what you'll get over time is the older leaves, particularly in this species, apparently the older leaves turn yellow and fall off, and eventually you will get a bare sort of stem with a cluster of leaves at the top, forming that characteristic fan of leaves. And then the flowers emerge from the leaf axil. So if you take a leaf and you follow the mid-rib, the midline of the leaf all the way down, you can see the leaf axil is where the leaf meets the stem, and that's where the flower spike emerges. So we've got one coming from this leaf axil and the other one comes from the next leaf up. Next year, higher up leaf axils should produce inflorescences. So as long as this is growing and producing new leaves and the stem is getting taller, then you are going to get more points of origin for the inflorescences. And over time, what should happen is, down here, I mean, maybe even this could be one, that little swelling, but new fans will also develop. So you'll get more than one fan in time. You also get new roots developing. So I mean, maybe that's a new root emerging there. And so you can get a cluster of fans, which means when it comes to flowering, you get a whole ton more flowers. So it's quite an easy plant to grow. It's a cool growing orchid. It needs a bright, drier, not completely bone dry, but drier winter with cooler temperatures, and then it needs a warm, wet summer. So much like a lot of the Cymbidiums, so no more difficult to grow than any Cymbidium that you get from, you know, a grocery store or a plant center or whatever. So if you can grow a regular Cymbidium, you can grow this one, and it doesn't take up too much space. The leaves, compared to Cymbidium eburnum, which is what it's closest to as a species in my mind, is that the leaves on this are much shorter, so it's a much more compact plant and very easy to grow. Really nice fragrance and really, really pretty flowers. So this is Cymbidium wadae or wadae, however you want to say it, in flower, looking wonderful. It's currently late March, so this is a late winter, early spring bloomer from Andy's Orchids. So if you want to get hold of it, go to Andy's Orchids and hopefully it might still be in stock. Great seller. I've had brilliant plants from him, so I'd highly recommend him. This is Orchids with Barney. Happy growing. Thanks for watching.